Good evening and welcome back to the Rory Talks Football channel. It is Friday. Arsenal have dropped points. The fan base is in just disarray once again. But we're different. We are different and we don't go hiding. We don't go hiding. We talk about it. We hash it out. And that's what we're going to do today. We're going to talk about Eze. That's the big talking point for, well, not the big talking point, but one of the big talking points from yesterday. Odegaard potentially being injured, what that means in terms of these cluster injuries that we seem to get in the same positions, it's not ideal if Odegaard is out for any period of time. And we'll also do the Wigan preview because there's probably not going to be a stream tomorrow. So we'll probably do the Wigan preview today as well. But look, it's good to see plenty of you turning up despite the head loss. Leeds Gunner, Icarus, Ethan Udall, Stabber is back, Hyper, Tom, Cheyenne, Logical Nonsense, Robert, Adam. Good to see you, Emilio. I appreciate it. Oslo Guna. All of the usuals, the regulars. That's what I like. The regulars turn up in the good times and the bad. And I appreciate that. Callum Talks AFC's here as well. Let's go. Only positivity, please. Let's get behind the boys. Yeah, look, I mean, we've got to talk about some of the more negative elements of yesterday, right? It's unavoidable. And, you know, it would be delusional to suggest that there weren't some concerning things yesterday, but also I don't understand how people actually go through the head loss every single time we drop points. It's the end of the world. We've bottled it, and then like a week later, City will have dropped more points and we'll have won again, and then it's we're back. How do you go through it? And I think a big part of it is down to the mainstream media. I really do think the mainstream media have to be held accountable for how ridiculous their reporting is. Like, we've played once since Sunday, and I'm seeing people claim that City have closed the gap from 9 points to 4. Like ESPN claiming that they've closed the gap from 9 points to 4. They were never 9 points behind us. It was just that they hadn't played Liverpool. Like, that's not how it works. Because by the same logic, we extended the gap from 3 points to 4 yesterday. But we didn't extend the gap. Like, it's so dumb. Petition to play our games before City. Feels like the team shits their pants if we have to play after City. I've got some bad news for you, Emilio. We play after City, I think, for at least 4 of the next 5 games, we play after City. I think one of them we play at the same time as City, and the other 4 we play after City. So, yeah, unfortunately, and that's going to be the challenge. The good thing is we play against Wolves, which means if we beat Wolves next week, the gap is 7 points, meaning if/when City win their game earlier in the weekend, like the gap only closes to 4 in the table, even though if we did then go on and lose, it would be 1. So, yeah, Bilal, good to see you. It's crazy to compare our 1-1 draw to Brentford with City's win against the terrible Fulham, almost as if 2 weeks ago City dropped against Spurs and we got a commanding win. The narrative changes weekly. Yeah, and look, City had 2 good wins and we had a frustrating draw. But over the last 8 games, City have won 3. City have won 3 of their last 8 Premier League games. Again, this idea that they've suddenly clicked and they're just going to they've got a favourable run over the next 5. I'll give them that. Although one of them does include Leeds United away from home on an evening kickoff. So, yeah, look, it is what it is at the end of the day. The lesson of the day, emotional regulation. Exactly. You just got to relax. Wolves will have us 1 game up till April, so we play earlier. Yeah, I understand what you mean, Ned, yeah. What game do you actually think City drop points in? It's hard to know. It's hard to know because I didn't think for a second that they would drop points against Spurs. At the time that they played against Spurs in absolute disarray, I didn't think City would drop points against them. And then they were 2-0 up at half-time and still managed to drop points. So Leeds away, they could feasibly drop points. Even Newcastle at home, with the way that Newcastle played away from home this season, sounds easy, but you just never know. Newcastle never turn up at the Etihad. I know, but you never know. And it's also just not worth getting worried about until we're we're there. What the hell even happened to Odegaard? Such a weird injury. Guy seems to be made of glass recently. Yeah, look, we'll talk about the Odegaard injury. Before we get into it, actually, if I could ask you to subscribe. We're on the way now to 36,000 subscribers, so I'd be very grateful for that. If you could like the stream as well, those of you that are here, if you could like the stream, that would be awesome. But yeah, the Odegaard injury. So we don't know a huge amount. Ryan Taylor said, who's a journalist for The Sun, I think, he said Martin Odegaard was limping heavily as he made his way through the mixed zone and onto the Arsenal bus after the game against Brentford. So all we know so far is Odegaard was limping heavily after the game. Now, to me, it looked like he jarred his knee and potentially hyperextended it. So a hyperextension is when it basically bends the wrong way. And again, it's another one of these kind of freak accidents almost. Like he's gone to kick the ball. He's connected awkwardly with Lewis Potter. Now, he carried on the game, so I don't think it was anything too significant. But he's getting so unfortunate with these contact injuries that he's getting this season. Like, that's the, fourth one? Fourth contact injury of the season. And so many of them seem completely innocuous. And I do think it's affecting him. I actually really think it's affecting him when it comes to winning duels and committing to duels, because he knows he's got a World Cup coming up that he's going to captain Norway to. The first time they've been at a World Cup in 30 years. That's a few months away. You look at Wataru Endo for Liverpool on, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, I can't remember which night, but against Sunderland, right? Endo, he's barely played all season, fills in at right back for a game, and he's got an injury that's probably going to mean he's not at the World Cup. And he would have been captaining Japan to the World Cup. He's not going to have that now. And so I do think that there's an element of fear there that Odegaard's playing with, because he probably thinks, God, every time I get any sort of contact, it's an injury at the moment. But the reason that it's concerning, and of course we don't know the level of it, and hopefully it is just a contact injury, and he probably won't play against Wigan, maybe even not against Wolves, but if he's back for Spurs, that'd be useful. But the worrying thing is that you've got Marino out for the season, Havertz out for at least the next couple of weeks. Nwaneri went on loan. If Odegaard is injured, that means the only player left for that sort of role is Eze. And if we're honest, at the moment, it's not working for Eze. And that is a concern. Not a concern for Wigan or for Wolves, but a concern for Spurs and then for Chelsea, which are the two games after that. Odegaard's injury was like Danny Carvajal. I thought he did his ACL. Yeah, luckily, I don't think there was as much force behind it. I don't think it hyperextended his knee as badly as Danny Carvajal. But yeah, it's not ideal. Eze needs to step up. I know we should pay Marseille to cancel the loan. Yeah, I mean that loan. You can. It's so frustrating because, like, at the time, I fully backed the loan because we had Havertz coming back, we had Marino, we had Odegaard, we had Eze. Like, there was no room at the inn for Ethan Nwaneri. And then it's like, 3 weeks later, De Zerbi's left Marseille, which was the main reason that we sent him to Marseille. And 3 of those 4 attacking players are injured, and one of them just doesn't look like he's at the races at all. It's like, and Arteta spoke about it, and he was like, we couldn't have expected it. We couldn't have anticipated it. And he's right. But equally, we kind of had it last January, right? We're going through last January. We kind of knew we probably needed an attacking player. And Arteta said, well, Havertz is so robust. Havertz has never been injured. He's basically been injured ever since that month. But by the time the window had closed, then Havertz ripped his hamstring. Martinelli did it as too. Martinelli did his hamstring straight after the window closed. Then we went on that bloody Dubai trip and Havertz did it there. And it's like, how's your luck? How is your luck for one player out of the entire squad we send out on loan, and then we get a cluster of potentially 3 injuries in that position within the next 3 weeks? It's the same every time. It's unbelievable. The Arsblog article this morning was very cathartic to read. Our attack is like a collection of lottery numbers we're hoping to assemble in the right order in search of the jackpot. So accurate. Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that. Kai Havertz is one of them, though. Of that, I am sure. Kai Havertz is fundamental to our attack. I would argue he is our most important attacking player, based on the way that we played against Leeds, played against Sunderland, and then played against Brentford without him. And that's worrying. Are you one of the doomers? No, I'm not one of the doomers. I'm not. I still think, by the way, over the last, I think, 10 games, Brentford is second in the league. Like, we went to, and we're top of the league, right? So we went to the second most informed team in the Prem outside of us, and we played them away, and we drew, and that's annoying. If we'd gone to Villa Park or Anfield or Stamford Bridge, any of the top 6, and we'd drawn, people would say, that can happen. It's frustrating, but it's a difficult place to go. It's a big game. Brentford are that team right now, unbelievably. And they made it so difficult for us. And it's a shame that City have already been there. And City had an equally difficult game. If you look back at when City played against them, City created less than 1 XG. The only real difference was that Brentford themselves didn't create as much. But yeah, they're a hard team to play. We played them, as Ethan says, we played them at their peak, and we were missing Havertz, and we were missing Saliba on the day, which, listen, I think Mosquera did an incredible job, but Saliba undoubtedly adds an element of composure to the team. And missing Marino as well, and it meant that we had no outlet, really. So Asna, take the, like, do you ever just look at people and just think, I feel nothing but sorrow for you? Like, I feel nothing but true sorrow for you. I am gonna ban you, so that is gonna happen. But I feel nothing but sorrow. Like, what an unfortunate life, Just a reminder, these are the same players that scored 91 goals in a season. It just baffles me how low they all came. Yeah, it's difficult. It is difficult to understand because, like, we are regressing as an attack. There is no other way of looking at it. I think Tom Canton put out a stat earlier on today. 23-24, by this point in the season, we'd scored 68 goals, I think, and like 70-odd% of them had come from our attacking players. Last season, by this stage, we'd scored 50-something goals, and it was down to like 60-something% of them had come from our attackers. Today, this season at this stage, we've scored 50 goals, which is the lowest amount, and only like 55% of them have come from our attackers. So, season on season on season, since 23-24, at this stage in the season, we've scored fewer goals, and of those goals, a lower proportion has come from our attacking players. So you kind of have to look at that and acknowledge our attack is weakening in terms of output and in terms of impact. I don't know still if Arteta knows what our best attack is, right? And that is a bit of a concern. And that's where I look at the Eze conversation, right? And first of all, let me tell you this. I am not going to give up on Eze. I am not going to write Eze off. I am not going to start talking about players we should have signed instead of him. But I will acknowledge right here, right now, he is struggling. Now, the reason I won't write him off is because I've seen this before. I've seen it time and time again before. We bring in new signings and it takes them a while to adapt. It happened with Kai Havertz. We're sat here now saying we desperately need Kai Havertz. How important is Kai Havertz to this attack? At this stage of Kai Havertz's first season at Arsenal, a lot of people had written him off. A lot of people were saying, why on earth did we buy him? Is he a midfielder? Is he a striker? I don't know. It took time. Mikel Merino at this stage last season, we were just about to put him up top. Mikel Merino. A lot of people, again, why did we spend money on him? What a waste. Yada, yada. We've had it time and time again. even with Victor Gyökeres, I see Victor Gyökeres improving. I see his performances improving. I see his hold-up play improving. I see his first touch improving. I see his decision-making improving. Is he the finished article? Absolutely not. And with Eze and Gyökeres, are they a little bit older? Can you maybe expect them to hit the ground running a little bit more? Maybe. But writing them off, I just think is ridiculous. We've seen the ability, the quality that Eze has. Like the North London derby, he scored a hat-trick. It's an excellent hat-trick. There is nothing to stop us being able to replicate that again. We just have to figure it out. And I also think there's a lack of fluidity in the setup because of injuries, right? So if we play Havertz as that third midfielder, we can go long. We know he can hold the ball up. He's going to run into the channels. He's going to link play. We know he's going to do all of that. So that's one thing. When Odegaard's playing in there, we know a lot of the time he's going to come short. He's going to drift. He's going to drop deep. He's going to pick the ball up. He's going to recycle it. He's going to take a lot of touches. But he's not really going to be sat in that sort of 10 position expecting you to find him. He'll come and find you. And then with Eze, we've got a player who wants to sit there. He wants to be in the pocket. He wants you to find him. He wants you to find him behind the lines. And people are confusing that with him hiding. People are saying he's hiding. He's not. He's not. He's waiting for us to pick him out in a dangerous area. But we're not used to doing that as much because we're used to Odegaard coming and receiving it. And this is a team thing. And it will get better. It will improve. It has to, undoubtedly. But equally, Eze has to do more then. Eze has to understand the game. He needs to read the game and say to himself, look, I'm not getting the ball here. As much as I want the ball here, and if I was found here with the ball, I could cause problems, I'm not getting it. So I've got to change my game to try and facilitate the rest of them. And there's a balance to be found. And we're not finding that balance right now. And it's tough. It's tough. But I think it will improve. We don't pass centrally. Eze will never touch the ball. And this is a problem. That's a non-Eze problem. Because when we do it, we do cause problems. You know, the opening goal against Inter Milan when we played them away, that came from an aggressive central pass. But we're too cautious. We don't want to lose the ball in those positions. And that can be frustrating. It is frustrating. Do you think we've given up on left wing Eze way too soon? No, but I don't think we've tried left central pocket Eze at all. Or we've barely tried it. So one thing I do think that we don't do enough is we're continuing to set up with Zubimendi, Rice as the sort of left 8, and then Eze as the sort of 10/right 8. But really, the area of the pitch he has to operate in more is the right-hand side. I think that should be swapped. I think Declan Rice can play on the right, and I think Eze should be playing on the left and picking up those pockets. That is where he is more dangerous because you don't know if he's going to cut in onto his right foot or go down the left-hand side. Tyrell Gunner, good to see you. Eze is a wing fielder. Yeah, basically. But he would thrive off the left, but we barely see it. So, look, they're my thoughts on Eze at the moment. There's not a lot else you can say. He's getting opportunities, and the worrying thing is that he's not taking them. So last night, again, you're looking at that lineup going, big opportunity for Eze. Grab it. Do something to grab it. And he didn't. He got hooked at half-time. Is that just his fault? No. It's difficult. We knew what he was. We did know what he was. And that is where I will say, if we don't adapt and we don't flex to suit him a little bit, not even to suit him, but to play into his strengths. You know, there are other players that we play into their strengths where possible. With Eze, we're not playing into his strengths. And if we don't do that and we never do that, I can't blame him. I can only blame the board and Arteta for buying a player that you know what he is and what he's about and how to play to his strengths, and you just refuse to do it. So Arteta doesn't make halftime subs often. No, he doesn't. He doesn't. And look, the halftime sub was the right one to make. Odegaard came on and we looked far, far better. We had far more control And it was the right decision. It wasn't really until we then conceded the equaliser and Odegaard got injured that, then Odegaard looked poor, but he's running around with half a knee or whatever. So what other formations can we reasonably play with our current players? I don't think it's a case of changing formation, really. I mean, there's obviously the element of playing with a proper 10 rather than a sort of 8. But other than that, I think what we're doing is, look, this is where you don't need to rip it all up and start again. We have still positioned ourselves top of the table this season playing the way that we're playing, right? You don't need to tear the whole thing down, start lining up with a back five. And there are just tweaks. There are tweaks that need to be made. And in certain games as well, I didn't think Timber worked yesterday. Didn't think Timber worked at all yesterday. I thought the way that we were struggling to play under the pressure and being done physically and in the duels, there was definitely an argument that Norgard should have played instead of Zubimendi. But we didn't make those decisions. So what can you say? We're playing Rice into a serious injury. Arteta has not learned from breaking Ben White, Saka and Havertz. I agree. I think Norgard has to play against Wigan and against Wolves. Norgard has to play both of them. And you rest Zubimendi against one of them, and you rest Rice in the other. In my opinion. They both need a rest. Sometimes Odegaard should be coming on for Zubi and not Eze. Yeah, I don't disagree. My only worry yesterday would have been the intensity that Brentford were playing at. If we dropped down to a midfield that had both Eze and Odegaard in it, could have been pretty weak. It could have been pretty weak. That would have been my only concern. And we could have lost that game yesterday. As much as we talk about not taking our chances and not creating enough at one end, we conceded enough that we should probably have conceded more than one goal. So I don't want to overreact, and I dislike our fans who are doing it. Some even enjoy it. But I can't say I'm super happy at the moment. 9 points out of a possible 18 in our last 6 games. I'm very nervous, not going to lie. And that's fair. And that is totally fair. Equally, City have taken 13 points out of their last 24. So, neither of us are at our best. Neither of us are at our ruthless best. And I look at that Fulham game. Fulham were crap. The worrying aspect of yesterday's result is that Brentford have shown other teams how to nullify and dominate Arsenal. Everyone knows how to play against Arsenal. Everyone knows it. Sit back. Not everyone can do it, by the way. Not many teams can do what Brentford did. They can't. But teams do know how to beat Arsenal or how to get at Arsenal and give yourself a chance of beating Arsenal. You sit in, you aggressively press them when they're in your final third, and you try and counter them. Considering what Wolves have done at the Emirates, I'm not looking forward to that game. Yeah, the only difference is I feel like now Wolves have basically admitted defeat. I know Forest had 35 shots and didn't score, but overall, I feel like Wolves have basically admitted that they're going down. Obviously. The fact that Timber is the one receiving the flick from Gyökeres is concerning. Fullbacks are being platformed more than wingers. Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I've not even watched that full clip back to figure out why it is that it's Timber that's there rather than Saka. Because if it's Saka, we probably score. But yeah, I've not even watched that back, really, to see why that was. Kayode should be a top target for us. Possibly. Brentford are probably one of the most physical teams in Europe, which is one of the best ways to beat us. There's not many more who can do it as well as them. No, exactly. And it was the way that they were able to press us man-to-man. That's how you can... When we don't have the technical players on the pitch, if you press us man-to-man, we end up going long. And if we've only got Gyökeres up there with nobody around him, we give up possession. And we did that time and time again. And that's where you need Kai Havertz. That is where you need Kai Havertz. But obviously we didn't have him. I don't get why people think Gabby should have had a second yellow card. They're just trying to appease rival fans. It really is the case of people just trying to appease rival fans. Didn't even realize Saka and Zubi were playing. Yeah, Saka didn't do a lot at all when he came on. Did you see the link to Inter Milan's striker Esposito? Esposito. I did. I don't believe it. I can't remember. I can't even remember where it came from. But yeah, look, if you didn't see it today, Arsenal got linked to Esposito, who, if you don't remember, when we went to Inter Milan the other day, remember the striker that came on as a sub? He came on as a sub, and he was a real handful. And we had to sub off Mosquera for Gabriel to deal with him. It's coming. No, it's coming from Steve K, who writes for transfer.com. He's one of the absolute worst for just making things up. I'll tell you what's happened. He's seen that there were people after that Inter game in the Arsenal fan base saying, oh, we should look at him in the summer. And he's written an article about it. That's what he does. I would not believe that in the slightest until someone reliable mentions it. You have to bear in mind, Brentford have come into good form lately. It was a disappointment last night, but we're still 4 clear. I get the nerves, but this is what proper title races do to you. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. We just got to keep plugging away. So some journalists just blatantly lie. Yeah, 100%. 100%. Loads of them do it. Because they don't need proof. They never have to prove it. More often than not, you can't physically prove that they're wrong, right? So you just lie. It's the easiest job in the world, is making up transfer rumors. Now, it's not the easiest job in terms of when you're not Ornstein or Fabrizio or Sammy Mockbell, you can't make a true exceptional career out of it because everyone knows that you're bullshitting, basically. But you can do it. All you do, you look online, right? You see a fan base, you see a player that they're talking about, you make up the story. It's the easiest thing in the world. 86 points with no loss at City. 86 points with no loss at City, does it? Yeah, 100%. And look, but I think we probably end up in the low 80s and City probably end up in the late 70s, early 80s themselves. And a lot of it might hang on that trip to the Etihad. If they beat us at the Etihad, then that could be the thing that wins it for them. But they're called rumours for a reason. Yeah, exactly. Time to go on a 12-game winning run, starting with the Wolves game. It would be nice. I think, realistically, we got 12 games to go. Win 8 of them. Draw 3 of them. Lose 1 of them. Probably enough. So that would put us on 83 points, I think. Would it? 8 wins, 24, 3 draws, 27, on to 56. Yeah, that would put us on 83. I think that's doable. You think we can play like Treble City? We changed one of our centre-backs in midfield. I swear we can do it. Well, we kind of did do that earlier in the season. Do you remember Saliba started doing it in certain games? Saliba would start moving into the midfield and carrying the ball through the midfield. It's possible. Carabao Cup terrifies me as a momentum swing. Yeah, possibly. Back to the formation question. I can't help but think we could get the drop on ops if we have like a mode switch to split defenders. I don't know. Maybe. Anyway, look, we need to do the Wigan preview. So let me bring old trusty FOTMob up for the Wigan preview. Yeah, well, I would continue in the app if it was on here. Hull versus Chelsea tonight. Come on, Hull. But yeah, Arsenal versus Wigan, 4:30 on Sunday at the Emirates. Look, you would assume Arsenal win it. You would assume Arsenal beat Wigan. In terms of the predicted lineup, obviously it will be Kepa in goal. It'll be White at right back. It'll probably be Mosquera and maybe Calafiori with Hincapié. No, Miles Lewis-Skelly. So it'll be it'll be Hincapié at centre back, Miles Lewis-Skelly left back, Norgard. This is where it gets interesting with the midfielders, right? Norgard. I mean, I don't want either Zubamendi or Rice to play, but you might have to play one of them because you're going to play Norgard, you're going to play Eze, you're probably going to play Madueke, probably Martinelli, and probably Jesus, right? It's probably going to be Martinelli, Jesus, Madueke, and Eze. That'll probably be the front four, but then who do you put in midfield with Norgard? Ife Ibrahim. I doubt he'll play, or I doubt he'll start anyway. Play MLS in midfield. Yeah, you could play MLS in midfield. Then you've got to play Calafiori at left back still, which means you're playing both Hincapié and Calafiori. Maybe. I mean, I do think we're probably still trying to get Calafiori up to speed, so that could be the option. Why not a 4-1-4-1? Well, generally speaking, we just play the same formation, don't we? But even with a 4-1-4-1, what I'm saying is who's the other in that in the middle four? So you got your one is Norgard, the four in front, who's the extra central midfielder? Whether it's a 4-1-4-1 or whatever else. I don't think Max Dalman's going to be available. Based on what Mikel Arteta has said, I don't think Max Dalman's going to be available. One of the academy defenders. Yeah, maybe Marley Salmon. Maybe Marley Salmon plays in defense. You could have Salmon, White, Mosquera, and then Hincapié, and then you can still rest Calafiori, play Miles Lewis-Skelly in midfield. If MLS doesn't play in midfield in this game, I don't think he ever will. Yeah, I don't disagree. There comes a point where you say, well, if he's not even being given even the briefest of opportunities in midfield, then does Arteta see any future of him as a midfielder? I'd like to see academy players play, not a lot, but still. Yeah, me too. Me too. Squad depth not looking too deep right now. Well, it's an interesting one with the squad depth because, like, you do have it. If players are fit, it's just the midfield. It's just the midfield. It's Havertz, Marino, and Odegaard all being injured, all in the same position. And I don't understand why we keep having these clusters. Like, it is bad luck. It is simply bad luck that we keep having these clusters. What's the news on Havertz? We're expecting him back, early March, I think. It wouldn't surprise me if he returned for the Chelsea game. Apologies if you've already spoken about it, but have they actually changed the rules so that Guéhi can play in the final? No, Guéhi can't play in the final. Guéhi can't play in the final. I would like to see Anus play. I liked him against Brighton. Yeah, possibly. The thing is, but he'll give the minutes to Jesus because Jesus has barely played. So Jesus will start. He didn't even come on as a sub yesterday. I swear there was a flare moment when Calafiori went forward. He's so good when attacking. Yeah, Calafiori needs to get forwards more. Spurs are getting Igor Tudor. Yeah, they are. They could go down, honestly. They could go down. Yeah, we've not had the quiz yet, Ned. How can you keep saying it's luck when we're constantly dealing with these injury clusters? Clearly the training or physios. Okay, explain to me what part of training or physio caused Odegaard's injury yesterday. Explain that to me. Explain to me how Odegaard going to clear a ball and a player running into his knee, which one of the physios should have stopped that happening? Is anyone worried for the final? Well, I think we can beat. I think we got the better of City. I do think we've got the better of City. Seb is happy. Yeah, Seb's happy, but he wasn't happy earlier. This is Seb on football, happy clapping, because he made a video earlier in the day saying that Spurs were in a dark place, and he reeled off the potential interim managers, including Igor Tudor, and he wasn't excited about it at all. So there's a little bit of revisionism there, if I'm completely honest with you. A little bit of revisionism. Saka needs to step up. Yeah, for sure. I agree. Arsenal win the quadruple. Spurs relegated. England win the World Cup. Greatest year in football history. We will be there. We will be there. Juve fans didn't rate Tudor. Well, I spoke to Luca, JFTV Luca today, who's a Juventus fan, content creator. He said when he arrived at the club, there was a little bit of a boost. He seemed to sort of get the players on board, but tactically, it all fell apart quite quickly. And by the end, I think the final 4 games, they didn't score a single goal. So who is Igor Tudor? Good point. Good question. He's managed at, I think he did like a year at Hellas Verona. He did 11 months at Marseille. He did 3 months at Lazio, and he did 7 months at Juventus. So, and he got sacked in like October from Juventus. JFTV hated Igor. You'll love to see it. You'll love to see it. We should get into a low block up until halftime and then get them in the second half. We can beat City. Yeah, 100%. City are the complete opposite to Arsenal. Arsenal start games slowly and try and grow into them. City start games like an absolute steam train with an unbelievably relentless press, and then they tire in the second half. It'll be an interesting game. Do you think Rodri will get a ban? Probably not. Probably not, to be honest with you. Let's be honest, whoever Spurs got as an interim would have been a gamble. Yeah, for sure. For sure. But in terms of this Wigan game, I mean, look, Wigan themselves aren't having the best of seasons, I don't think. They are currently 22nd in League One. So they are, and the other thing is they're in a relegation scrap. So this is one of those where, you know, that's a big relegation scrap from 17th down to 23rd. 2 points separating 17th and 23rd. They've got bigger fish to fry than an FA Cup game that they're probably not going to win. So, look, maybe they do come to the Emirates and they go all out for it. Maybe they do, but it would be a big gamble. It would be a big gamble for them to do that. They've lost 4 games in a row. As a League One team. They've also got a midweek game against Luton. So they really are. They to come to ours on Sunday evening, right, and go full strength in a game that they're almost certainly not going to win, ahead of a game against Luton, who are a good team in the Championship. Yeah, where they play them at home. They might rotate. They might rotate. Wouldn't surprise me at all. Carragher's son plays for them as well. Into him. Think Spurs could get relegated realistically. Yeah, I think it's genuinely realistic. I'm not saying they're the favourites to get relegated, but I'm looking at it. They're 5 points ahead of West Ham, 3 points ahead of Nottingham Forest. West Ham have found form under Nuno. Nuno has been there, done it in a relegation battle. And Vitor Pereira's just come in at Nottingham Forest. Don't get me wrong. He was shocking, abysmal with Wolves this season. But when he arrived at Wolves last season, I hammered it. I thought it was a terrible decision. And then he kept Wolves up. So West Ham and Forest have got managers that have done it. Spurs don't. I don't know. I think it's not completely unrealistic. Kepa, White, Mosquera, Piero, MLS, Norgard, Ife, Eza, Noni, Jesus, Nelly. Have you not just named... Oh, no, yeah. No, you haven't. I thought you named 12 players then. Yeah. I don't know if they'll go with Ife in the midfield. I hope they do. I think we can use academy players for this game. I'm looking at that Wigan. I think we can use academy players where possible. Leeds are also pulling away from the relegation zone as well. Yeah, I don't think there's anyone else in it, to be honest. I think that third spot is between West Ham, Nottingham Forest, and Spurs. Maybe Palace get sucked into it if they're not careful, but that's about it otherwise. That's about it. Dalman should play if fit. I don't think Dalman's fit is the annoying thing. It would have been the perfect game for him, but I don't think he's fit. He started a noose, and Ife recently got a contract, so you never know. No, he did start. He started a noose and Dalman against Brighton in the Carabao Cup. Like, was it against Brighton in the Carabao Cup that he started them? Yeah, I think it was, wasn't it? Yeah. So he's not scared to use them, but at the time we had a load of injuries, so we almost had to use them. Whereas now, like, he's not going to use a noose ahead of Jesus. The one that could potentially start is Ife Ibrahim. I do think that is one because we are very light in midfield and he is a midfielder. So maybe that does work, which would be great. It'd be great to see it. Could someone remind me what happened at the Emirates for 1-1 v City? What happened? Who was the better team? Yeah, exactly. We were the far better team against City. And I think we still are the better team. So, how is Saka or any attacker supposed to thrive in this system? Every time he receives the ball, he's on the touchline miles away from the goal. I agree. And that is where Kai Havertz, I think, is so important. Because when you go long, Kai Havertz will run into a channel and you can go long to him, and that allows the winger to get further forward, join up with him in a far better attacking position. But only really him and Marino are the only two players that could really do that, which is why it becomes so difficult. I'm amazed White didn't come on yesterday. We missed his overlapping runs. Yeah, I was amazed. Timber looked absolutely shattered after 60 minutes. And again, Timber should have the whole week off. Timber should not start against Wigan, and he should not start against Wolves. That should be Ben White in both of those games, in my opinion. Or even Marley Salmon against Wigan and Ben White against Wolves. I really do think that. Anyway, it is time for today's quiz question. Get your fingers on your keyboards. First person to get it right in the chat wins the immense pride and respect of the Rory Talks football community. Today's quiz question is this. The last time Arsenal played Wigan was the 2014 FA Cup semi-final. Who scored the goal for Arsenal to send the game to extra time? The last time Arsenal played Wigan was the 2014 FA Cup semi-final. Who scored the goal for Arsenal to send the game to extra time? Bum bum ba-da-dum bum ba-da-dum bum ba-da-dum. Do 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 do. Someone's got it. Someone has got it. Bang, bang. It's not Arteta. It's not Sanchez. It's not Walcott. It's not Ramsey. It's not Ozil. It's not Cazorla. It's not any of them. The winner is Ethan Udall. It was indeed Per Mertesacker with the goal. Second was Croat Gunner. Third, Omar. Fourth, Nid with Per. And fifth was ENC or Enk. There you go. IZK is saying he said Per. Yeah, but where did you say it? Where did you say it? Oh, you said it there. Oh, you were second. Correction. IZK was second. Ethan Udall was still ahead of you with Mertesacker, though. Mertesacker. Crazy way of spelling it. There you go. Ethan Udall has won it. Please do a question I know the answer to. I'm trying. I was first on my screen. It says I was first. Yeah, it's all to do with the way the internet works and that. It's first on your screen because on your screen it puts it there the millisecond that you send it, But by that point, Ethan Udall had already sent it. It just hadn't shown up on your screen yet. Whereas I see them coming through in order. So there you go. There you go. Unfortunately, them's the technologies. Look, that is going to be the end of the live stream. I do appreciate you all for joining. I know it's difficult when the results don't go our way. You have to dust yourself off. You don't want to consume Arsenal content. I get it. Please do subscribe before you jump off. Like the stream. There may be a video tomorrow, but there won't be a live stream. The next content will be a match reaction after the Wigan game. So that is the next time. Probably there will be content on the channel. So that'll be Sunday. I hope you have a great weekend. Valentine's Day for those of you that celebrate it. I hope you enjoy that, and I will catch you all on the next one. Until then, goodbye.